Good morning. All right, let's talk about these garlic butter chicken thighs. I am super excited to make. So this is the recipe. Okay, it's posted in our classroom. This is a pretty straightforward recipe, okay? This recipe that we're doing makes 4 chicken thighs. You can easily double this. The package of chicken thighs that I got from Walmart actually had 10 in it. So it'd be really easy to make this recipe a lot bigger and just cook all your chicken at once. And you can serve this with any sides that you want. Mashed potatoes, risotto. You could serve this, French fries, whatever you want to make with it. And then, some great vegetables, a green salad or some steamed broccoli or roasted asparagus. You can go anywhere with it. Okay, but this is really awesome. I love this recipe because it is only 4 ingredients. All right, so looking at our ingredient list, it's 4 bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. The skin gives you flavor. That's your fat. It's tasty. Okay, fat is not the enemy. Excess fat and trans fats are the enemies. But some skin on your chicken breast, it is saturated fat. You just don't want to eat a ton of it. Don't eat like 6 chicken thighs. If you do, take the skin off. Okay, garlic cloves, butter, olive oil, and then salt and pepper. We kind of count those as like gimme ingredients because the assumption would be that you have salt and pepper at home. So my first direction is to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. I'm gonna put this down so you guys can see what I'm working on. Okay, is to preheat my oven to 350 degrees, which I did. Okay, I need a pan that is oven safe. So this is oven safe. It has a metal handle. Cast iron works great for this. There are lots of pans that have a rubberized handle that are oven safe as well. You just still need to make sure you're using a grip or a mitt or something because even that rubber will get hot in the oven. Okay, this one I'm gonna have to use an oven mitt when I put it in and out of the oven. Okay, so I have an oven safe pan. First thing I'm gonna do is pat my chicken thighs dry with paper towel. If you have a recipe and it says to, wash your chicken, please don't, okay? First of all you're doing is spreading the bacteria from the chicken all over your sink, which is where you're supposed to clean things, okay? And possibly the water hits it and then that bacteria sprays out all over you and the surrounding environment, and now you've got potential salmonella contamination all over the place. With poultry, with any meat, you just need to pat it dry, okay? If it's a little sticky or slimy from defrosting, just pat it dry. Use paper towels and then throw the paper towels away. I've seen people attempt to actually wash meat with soap. That's a big no-no. Please don't wash your meat with soap, okay? Just your hands. Just wash your hands with soap. All right, so these are nice and dry. Part of the reason I want to get them dry is because any water that's in there is going to react with the fat in the pan and spit and sputter and possibly burn me. So if I get all the water off using paper towel, then I'm just dealing with the protein and the fat. All right, so here they are. I'm gonna be using tongs as much as I can so I don't actually put my hands on the raw chicken, okay? So tongs are a great way to have the dexterity of your fingers without actually getting your fingers dirty, okay? So I'm gonna start by seasoning them. This is some kosher salt, okay? All right, don't feel like it's a lot because it's gonna come off in the cooking process, okay? Same here with the pepper. Don't feel like this is just tons and tons because it's actually, a lot of it's gonna come off in the cooking process, okay? I'm gonna put my butter and my olive oil in my pan. So I have 1/4 of a cup of butter, okay? And then I also need a tablespoon of olive oil. So I'm gonna put those in my oven safe pan, all right? And I'm gonna turn it on to medium-high heat, okay? And let that butter melt down, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and season the other side of the chicken now while my pan gets hot. It is so important that you cook in hot pans. That sounds obvious, like it's a given, okay, but all the time people put cold food in a cold pan and then they wonder why it doesn't get crispy. The whole reason this recipe tastes so good is because the chicken skin is crispy, okay, and that can only happen in a hot pan, okay? So that pan needs to be hot. The butter should be completely melted, okay? It should be incorporated with the olive oil, right? And it will be a nice hot pan, okay? So these are good to go. When I put these in the pan, I'm gonna be putting them in skin side down, okay? So the butter's gonna melt, After the butter melts, I'll be adding the garlic to the pan, okay? Again, I'm just using pre-minced garlic because it's what I have here at school. With your own garlic cloves, you can just take the clove, take the side of your knife, smash it, and just break the clove apart. You don't need to actually have it like divided up in there. Again, because if we overcook the garlic, it will burn, okay? So if it's a whole chunk of garlic, you can still get all the oils out of it, but it's gonna be much easier to remove from your pan. This is gonna be a little more of a pain in the butt for me to remove from my pan, okay? All right. Get that butter going. All right. Go ahead and add my garlic. Since this is 4 to 5 cloves, I'm gonna do a big heaping tablespoon. Okay, really get that garlic flavor in there because I want that garlic to really permeate not only the butter and the oil, but the meat itself. Butter, obviously, or garlic is obviously very fragrant, very aromatic, okay, and it needs a lot of space to permeate in that regard. Okay. Here we go, melty, melty, melty. All right. And mix that around. Okay. It might seem like a lot is in the pan, okay, but again, remember this is all fat. So essentially, we're going to kind of fry it a little bit. We're not deep fat frying because it's not submerged in fat, and neither of these fats, butter or olive oil, are designed for high fat or high heat frying. So they would actually begin to burn if we did it at like the temperature you would fry, say like French fries at, which is about 360, 370 degrees. It's not going to be that hot, okay? But we definitely want everything melted, okay? And again, because this is fat and we absorbed all the water from the chicken, it's not going to pop and sizzle on us, okay? So we're just about ready. I'll turn this back down so you guys can see. Okay, I'm actually going to move you closer for the actual cooking process. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Ooh, you can start to hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but it is sizzling away, okay? So you guys can see all my butter is melted. It's incorporated there with my oil. Okay, we are gonna put the chicken in. I'm gonna put it in skin side down. And I'm gonna place it at the outside of the pan, okay, so that I can fit all my chicken in the pan. So don't just plop it in the middle of the pan. Really try to make everything fit in there as best you can. Okay. All right. All right. So those are now in the butter. Good times, okay? So that is step 5. When it's in there, we're gonna sear them. So essentially we're just waiting for the skin to get crispy, okay? These shouldn't stick, A, because this is a non-stick pan, and B, there's so much fat in there. If your meat sticks when you put it in the pan, do not try to move it, please, okay? When meat sticks to the pan, what's happening is that skin is still searing. It's caramelizing. When it's done, the pan will release it, especially if you're using stainless steel pans. If your pans are like straight metal, the meat will stick. Just leave it, okay? When it's done, it will release on its own. That's the way those pans are designed to work. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, my food's stuck, I have to touch it. No, 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 just leave it be, okay? And it will eventually release, okay? All right, so these are just sizzling away. Oh, you guys need smell-o-vision. Okay, so while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and put my cutting board in the sink because I am done with it now. Okay, I'm actually going to get set up to make some mashed potatoes. Okay, I will post the link for you for my perfect mashed potato recipe, but I will not be making it for you. I'm making it for a different grade. So these are sizzling away now. All right, probably gonna take about 5 or so minutes on that side, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to put them in the oven. All right, guys, so the chicken has been simmering. It is time to go ahead and turn it over. The edges are getting brown, like around the edge of my pan. okay? The skins are getting lighter and the chicken has actually kind of shrunk in the pan, okay? So now I'm gonna take my tongs and just turn it over, okay? And you can see that my chicken is browning, okay? So because I used the minced garlic, it's actually starting to get a little dark in my pan. I'm just gonna scrape it off because again, I don't want that burnt garlic on there. But I want these skin side up so that the fat can continue to render in the oven, okay? So I'm just turning my chicken over, all right? Check my recipe, okay? So flip it over, all right? I'll give these a couple more minutes in the pan before I put them in the oven. If your chicken starts to spit and you're getting hot oil or butter popping out of the pan, you can always put a lid over your pan just to kind of protect you and your work surface, okay? Perfect. So, even though this hasn't gone in the oven yet, the heat is already starting to transfer up the handle. So I'm gonna use my oven mitt, okay? And you guys can see that they're nice and golden. The skins are nice and crispy, all right? So now I'm gonna take this pan, it's nice and hot, and I'm gonna put it in my oven, okay? So I'm putting it in a 350-degree oven. Make sure I turn off my burner. 350-degree oven for about 10 or 15 minutes. So set my timer. Okay, I'm gonna set it for 12 minutes. If I start to smell it being done sooner, then I'll check it sooner. We'll start that for 12 minutes, let those cook. We'll come back and check them. I'll show you guys how to take the temperature. All right, so the timer is going off on our chicken right now, and we are going to check the temperature. Poultry needs to cook to 165 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature. So I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna check that. I have a meat thermometer right here, okay? I'm working on some other labs as well, okay? So I'm gonna open my door all the way. I'm gonna pull the rack out first, okay? Here's my chicken in my pan in the oven still. I'm gonna take my thermometer and I will put it in the thickest part of the meat, avoiding the bone, okay? I don't want my thermometer to touch the bone because the bones tend to get hotter than the meat, okay? So this is a digital one. It's super easy to read. I have one at home that's just a little spinning wheel. We're slowing down now. We're at about 140 degrees. Oh, timer, I turned you off. Timer off. There we go. Okay. Yeah, looks like we got about 20 degrees to go. So you see 145, it's slowing down. So I'm gonna put this back in for about 5 or 6 more minutes, and we'll check the temperature again. Eating undercooked poultry is a great way to get salmonella, which is a bacteria that lives in the flesh of poultry. All right, so we're gonna let that cook a little bit longer. I'm gonna reset my timer and we'll come back and check it in a few. All right, the time has come to check the chicken again. Okay, so at this point the chicken has cooked for about 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this out. Okay, you guys can see it's a lot more brown now. Okay, including the butter is a lot more brown. I'm gonna take my thermometer. Again, I'm putting this in my largest piece of chicken. Okay, and I'm putting it in the meatiest part of the thigh. All right. We're just gonna let that read. We are looking for 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh yeah, we already blasted past where we were last time. We're cruising on up, 156, 160. Let's see if we hit 165. We don't wanna go very far over 165 because it will be overcooked. All right, there's 165. All right, it's good. Looks like we're probably gonna hit about 170 with this. That's perfect. We don't wanna go much higher than that because the chicken will be overcooked and dry. But thighs are already a more moist piece of meat. So this chicken is done. I'm gonna pull it out, set it back up here on my stove. I obviously have a couple other things going right now. Okay, but we are done there. All right, I can turn off my oven. I'm gonna let that chicken rest, okay? Once it's rested. I'll spoon some more of the butter over the top. Yeah, we're stopping at like 171. And then I'll show you guys how to serve it up nice and pretty with the mashed potatoes that I'm making right now. All right, so the chicken has rested. I made some gorgeous mashed potatoes for 6th grade's lab. You have access, but I'll post the link to the mashed potatoes too if you want to try them. Once they have rested, you're going to remove your chicken from the pan, okay? And I'm just gonna serve them here over this bed of mashed potatoes, okay? Nice and beautiful chicken over mashed potatoes. Yep, there we go. Now, I have all this beautiful browned butter in the pan, okay? Now remember, if you're making this at home, hopefully you are using whole cloves of garlic and you were able to pull them out. So I kind of have to be careful because I have the little pieces in there and they're a little overdone. But if I just skim off the top, I get this beautiful, fragrant, garlicky butter, okay? Just pour that right over the top of the chicken. Okay, and that'll keep it nice and moist until they eat it. All right, anytime you have excess fat, like I have here with this pan, remember we do not put fat down the drain. You need to find a way to dispose of it in a garbage can. So I'm actually gonna put this in a bowl and put it in the freezer overnight, and then I will throw it away tomorrow when it is solid, because I do not want to ruin my pipes here at school. So I'm just going to take a paper bowl, okay, and take all this excess butter and oil, pour it into my paper bowl, okay. The little bit of fat that is left in the pan, that's no big deal. That can absolutely go down the drain, but the bulk of it, that needs to be disposed of in a trash can. So I hope you guys enjoy making it. It is delicious. It smells incredible in here right now. So awesome dinner. Knock your parents' socks off. 4 ingredients. All right, see you guys in class.